The new Ninjago Dragons Rising Summer 2026 sets just got revealed. You can check out the reveal on the Masters of Brickjutsu YouTube channel, so without further ado, let's take a look at them. The first set we have here is 71862 Lloyd's Dragon Mech Battle Pack. My initial thoughts is that I really like that they're still doing these small $10 mechs that allow you to really army build the villains of the season. The mech design itself is pretty nice, and I do really like the color scheme. A new cockpit mold was also introduced with this set, which does look pretty nice, but the one thing I do feel that's lacking from this set is that center chest plate that the other sets have, but overall not bad. The ninja also don't sport any new suits this time around, which I actually don't mind because it is sometimes a little bit hard to collect these ninja suits because then we'll get them just in one set. So now this just gives us more opportunities to get these minifigures. And this time around they're also including the dragon claws in the actual dragon form that we see in the show, which is absolutely amazing because that was the one thing lacking from the last wave since they actually have claws in the show. And this is probably the cheapest way that you could get the claws, considering the fact that even if you get all of these sets, you won't have enough for all of the ninja. So if you get a couple of these, you get a couple of extra claws, and you also get a couple of extra loyalists. So not a bad set. Next set is 71863 Zilvar and Grimtax. Right off the bat, I want to talk about the Zilvar minifigure, which I think absolutely looks amazing. He really does fit with the snow aesthetic, which many are saying that it is the Neverrealm. Who knows, we'll see. But honestly, amazing minifigure and good use of the Ra's headpiece. I'm also a huge fan of Grimtax himself. The concept of combining a dragon and a gorilla into one creature sounds absolutely bonkers, but it honestly works really well. So overall, this is a really solid set, and you also get the complete dragon form of Kai with the claws. Next up is 71864 Kai and Cole's combiner vehicle. Honestly, the biggest highlight for me in this set is the new ice monster. It is unfortunate that we didn't get to see this monster in the previous wave, but it is good to finally get him here. I also like the use of the medium legs in this particular villain. The actual vehicles themselves are pretty nice, and I actually do like them as is. As the name of the set suggests, you can change the parts of the vehicle, that being the back part and swapping them between Cole and Kai's. Not a bad feature to include into a playset, but honestly, I don't really like how it looks when you change the parts. So solid standalone vehicles, but not so much when you change parts. Next up is 71865 Zayn's Ice Dragon Battle. 4+ sets are always funny to me because I never really know how to properly kind of give my thoughts on these ones because they are meant to be 4+ sets and for children, but I think there's still some things that you could say about it. The builds themselves aren't too bad. It's a nice little ice dragon and a nice little acid snake. It is unfortunate that we did get the acid snake in a 4+ set because when you make a 4+ set, the design has to be more simplified so that younger kids could actually build it. Aside from that, the minifigure selection is very interesting as well. I'm surprised they gave the acid monster some legs. It is a cool little variant, but kind of unnecessary to be honest, and would have much preferred them to have the tails, but it is just a minor nitpick for a 4+ set. Next is 71867 X1 Ninja Charger. Now my biggest thing with this set is that I wish it was just a different vehicle. We have already gotten a previous legacy set of the X1 Ninja Charger, so it just doesn't really make sense to make another X1 Ninja Charger. As much as I do wish this was a different vehicle, I'm not gonna lie, this set does look pretty sick. The only downside I would say with this vehicle is that you have to live the entire front in order for the bike to come out, which is something you have to do with the previous X1 Ninja Chargers, but for those there was a mechanism that made the play feature more easy. Minifigure selection is also kind of disappointing. For such a big set, I would have wished for there to be more, especially for the price point. It's nice to get a new torso print and head print for the Ninjroids, and this is General Cryptor, but unfortunately he doesn't have his original armor. We of course get Legacy Kai of this year, and the highlight minifigure is of course the previous Master of Shadow, thus completing the anniversary collection of minifigures. Next up is 71868 Wildfire's Transforming Dragon Mech. Starting off with the minifigure selection, it does have a pretty decent one. Sora, I'm kind of getting tired of seeing this particular minifigure because we got it in so many sets already. Aaron, always a nice plus. We do get a new Beatrix in this set. We also get the inclusion of the acid monster and the ice monster, and the biggest highlight is the new Wildfire minifigure, which does have a new face print both front and back. I do really like the look of the dragon mech itself. The transforming feature is a nice concept, but as of right now, or at least from this angle, I'm not the biggest fan of it when it turns into a mech. It might just be the angle, but I'm really gonna need the set in hand for me to really give my full thoughts on what I think of the actual mech itself. But honestly, the biggest disappointment of this set is the Beatrix mech size. I'm not saying they should have copied one for one the previous mech that we got, but definitely using more of that scale and those elements into this one would have been really nice. Next up is 71869 Land Bounty. This is one of those sets that I'm really mixed on because I really want to like the Land Bounty, but for some reason there's something just off about this vehicle that I'm not liking. Something about it looks off when it's all put together. For me, it might be the angle in which it's tilted on. The top seems very barren to me, and I feel like there could have just been a little bit more detail on it, where like the previous land bounty, it had sails on top of it, which kind of gave it a little bit more life. This one just kind of feels and when I say that, I mean it when it's all combined together, because this set actually does separate into 3 separate other vehicles, and when you actually separate the vehicles, all 3 of them look pretty well standalone. And my main issue with the main portion of it actually disappears, with the top being there and kind of actually working for the standalone vehicle. But with the previous set, I'm going to need it in hand to kind of give my full thoughts on it. Minifigure selection is nothing to scream home about. It is very disappointing that we are getting the fire monster in such an expensive set, and this is the only way that we could get him as well. It is a very nice minifigure, but it is unfortunate that it did not get transparent arms. That was all the Dragons Rising sets, so now moving on to the Legend sets. First up is 71870 Twin Titan mechs, and just right off the bat, they are amazing mechs, and it's finally time that we have all the Titan mechs for all of the Ninja. I can't wait to put all of these together. For Kai's mech, I really like the color scheme and the design, and I also really like the design of Nia's mech, but I'm not fully sold on Nia's color scheme. My biggest question with this set is the inclusion of Jin and Mira, who are new characters who we know nothing about as of right now. They could possibly be descendants of the Ninja, possibly even previous Elemental Masters, or maybe just like an alternate universe type of situation. Regardless of which, I'm really excited to see what these characters are about. The new Oni warrior also looks fantastic. I'm really glad that there's a nice variation between the Oni species, just like the dragons. The next set is 71871 Battle at the Dragon's Blade. I'm really liking the design of the dragon skull, but it kind of does look a little bit off on its base plate. The sword also looks really nice, and I like how it's sticking through the mouth of the skull. And you could possibly even do a full-length sword by using this as a base. Both the mech and the dragon are pretty decent builds, but for me they're nothing to really scream home about. I'm very much more interested in the skull and the sword. We also see Jin and Mira in this set, as well as another new character, Master Ivo, who could be another Master of Ice, who actually looks a lot like the previous Ice Elemental Master, so I can't wait to see what the situation with all these characters is. And we also get another Oni warrior. So overall, not a really bad set. And the last set, 71872 Ultra Dragon Battle. So I am super conflicted on this set, because on the one hand, it looks absolutely amazing and just crazy of a concept, but on the other, For starters, I think the bipedal dragon is fine. It's a nice way to differentiate it from other previous Ultra Dragons. My biggest gripe with the Ultra Dragon is the heads. For such an iconic beast, the heads are just too basic in my opinion. They all use the same head mold with nothing really going on in terms of detail. Where yes, the first Ultra Dragon also kind of had the same thing where they used the same head molds, minus Rocky. They still had printing on them to give them a little bit of different characteristics. For this set, they did give the elemental powers spewing out of their mouths, but I don't think that's enough for all of the heads to stand out as a different dragon. This just looks like a generic white dragon with 4 heads. A smaller issue, but another issue I have with this set is the scale of the Great Devourer in comparison to the actual dragon. The Great Devourer is supposed to be this enormous beast, which is actually bigger in the show than the Ultra Dragon, so I think that was a missed opportunity in making the Great Devourer much bigger than the Ultra Dragon, which I would have loved much more. But speaking of the Great Devourer, honestly, not a bad redesign. Really like the dark green color scheme with the purple and black accents. A nice little odd to the Overlord, how he's the one that sent the Great Devourer to bite Garmadon. And we also see the return of Jin and Mira in this set, as well as the Oni Warrior, and we get a completely new character in this set as well, which is Nate, who seems to be a descendant or just some sort of Earth Elemental Master. So overall with this set, I'm gonna definitely need it in hand as well, give my full thoughts on it because I am really mixed on this one. I can't tell whether I like it or hate it. And with that said, that is all these summer 2026 sets, but make sure to leave a comment down below on what you guys think of the sets, because I'm really curious on what you guys think. Personally, I think this wave of Dragons Rising sets are slightly weaker than the January sets that we got, but also not by a lot. And when it comes to the Legend sets, I'm really liking the Twin Titan mechs, but the Ultra Dragon, I'm kind of like, I don't know what to feel with that one. So again, please leave your opinions down below. And as per usual, I will be buying all the sets and doing live streams of all of them. So make sure you stick around for that, because that is it for the video. I'll see you all next time. Taco out.